Our next lesson involves angle sum of polygons, another concept from geometry. So in order to determine the number of the total angle sum for any polygon, the formula we use is n minus 2 times 180. And that's a formula you're going to have to memorize for your ACT. So for a triangle, I know everyone knows it adds up to 180 degrees. However, you can use the formula, n being the number of sides, so for a triangle it's 3 minus 2 times 180, which does give us 180. Now for an octagon, octagons have 8 sides, so it's 8 minus 2 times 180. And if we do that on our calculator, we end up with 1080. And for a decagon has 10 sides. So 10 minus 2 times 180 gives us 1,440. So in this shape, the first question is how many sides, and if I count them up, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, which means we have a hexagon. So using our formula, n minus 2 times 180, we'll do 6 minus 2 times 180, and that leaves us with 720 degrees for the sum of all the angles of this polygon. Now in order to find the missing angle of x, we're just going to subtract all of these off of 720, and I believe those total up to 651, giving us a total for the x degree angle of 69 degrees. So a very simple problem if you know the formula. The next example, this time we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So we have a pentagon, and 5-sided figure using our formula is 5 minus 2 times 180. And when I figure that out, that comes up to 540 degrees. So same idea. We're just looking for the missing angle, so add up to all the sides you do know, which is 409, and take it away from 540. And that leaves you with 131 degrees. Okay. The next couple problems do not have a picture, they just tell you what type of shape you have. So these won't be very hard. The first question is about a hexagon. And hexagons have 6 sides. I believe we already did this, but just remember 6 minus 2 times 180. And I think that gave us, let's see, was it 720? I forget. Okay, a nonagon has 9 sides. So you do 9 minus 2 times 180. You can go ahead and calculate that yourself. And then a 20gon doesn't really have a name, we just call it a 20gon. Using our formula, 20 minus 2 times 180. And that'll give us the sum of all of our interior angles. Let's back up a step. If they ever ask you, and I will on a coming up worksheet, about the exterior angles, the sum of the exterior angles for any polygon is always the same number. It's always going to be 360 degrees. And we'll see this in a worksheet, and on the next worksheet I give you actually. But it doesn't matter how many sides the polygon has. If you were to add up every single exterior angle, they always come out to 360. So just keep that in mind for your ACT. This next problem won't be very difficult for you. You just have to add together all of the angles and take it away from how many total degrees are in the shape. Well, let's see. If we count up our sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so this guy comes out to 1080 degrees when I used my formula. And then I don't have a calculator with me right now, but if you go ahead and you add up all those sides and take away that number from 1080, I believe you come out with 147 degrees. Okay, and this last example is going to show you what I mean by the exterior angles theorem, but we'll talk about that in a second. They want you to figure out all the missing variables, x, y, and z. There's a couple ways we can do this. First, when I look at x, I notice that 135 and x are next to each other, and they form a line, so they're going to have to be supplementary. So 180 minus 135 will give you the 45 degrees. For angle y, same idea, 65 and y are supplementary, So 180 minus 65 gives you 115. And then angle Z, again, is supplementary. So 180 minus 110 gives you 70 degrees. Now, the other way we could have done that problem is when you look at the exterior angles, the ones that are outside of the shape. If I was to add all three of those together, they would have to come out to 360 degrees because that's the exterior angles theorem. So 360 minus the 135 minus the 110 could also have provided for you a measure of angle Y. The only reason I bring that up is because the ACT is more typically going to ask a question like that, where maybe they wouldn't give you all of this information, they would just give you the 135 and the 110, and they would not tell you about the 65 degrees over there at angle Y. So something to keep in mind when you're on your ACT.